Good morning and welcome to Intention Monday. Free will versus destiny. Hey, my name is Rishi Patel. I'm the founder of Selling in Alignment, where I work with coaches and consultants to reprice and package their services so they can discover and live their purpose. Today, I'm really excited to be talking about this topic, and I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding around the connection between what do we have control over and what don't we have control over. And I really want to bring maybe an interesting view to this narrative. So today I'm going to be referencing some things that I've dealt with in my own personal life, where I've had to look at this connection between destiny and free will, and also a really great movie reference, which I'm really connected to at the moment. We'll go straight into it. Let's understand, first of all, what this whole thing is around destiny. What is destiny? Destiny for me is really the idea of that which comes your way, which you have very little control over, and it's a set of circumstances or situation or relationship or something that gets presented to you. Let's say, for example, you're a coach and you're working in your business and it's going really well, and something happens that you don't have control over. Let's say a loved one gets unwell, and you have to put your time, energy, attention into that, because that becomes priority. And there's nothing wrong with that. You didn't have control over that. That was meant to happen that way. And so you put the time, the effort, the energy into it. That's destiny. Then what's free will? Free will is how you approach the destiny that's brought into your consciousness. And that's very much it for me. I want to give a couple of my own personal life examples for how I've really dealt with destiny and free will. So one of the occasions that I remember around about, this must be going back at least 17 to 18 years. And as a young man, I think I was around 26, 25, 26, something like that. And I had an incredible crush on this lovely lady. And, I remember all of us sitting around in a friend's conservatory one day. And we were all sitting around, and there I was, and there was a group of friends. And I was sitting on a beanbag, and I was lying back in this conservatory. The sun was coming in through the window. It was a beautiful day. It was very warm. And as I was lying back on this beanbag, you could see I had a really big belly at that time. My belly was sticking out, and I was conscious about it. I was really self-conscious about that big belly that I had. And so this girl said, this girl that I had, this lovely lady that I had this crush on, she said to me, "Oh, look at Rishi, he's looking a little bit tubby." And she didn't quite say it in those words. She said it in a very playful way. And everyone laughed, and it was funny. But for me, the way it landed was, hey, why is this lovely lady saying that to me? Now, that situation was destiny. That was meant to happen, right? That lovely lady was meant to give me the message. The way that I then choose to approach what she has said to me is very much inside of my free will. And what I chose to do was I got angry, right? I said to myself, hey, Rish, I don't want to show up like that anymore. So what I did is I jumped on the treadmill and I jumped into the gym and I started doing weights. I started running. I started eating much better, and I lost all the weight. And I looked great after a while. And I didn't want that to ever happen to me again. So now I could have chosen to do nothing and just be like, oh, she's just making fun out of me, and that won't happen again in the future. And somewhere deep down, that didn't sit right with me. But it was my free will to choose the way in which I responded to that given situation, that given circumstance. That was important. The way that I chose to respond was definitely free will. What happened, this lovely lady making that comment, that was destiny. Another circumstance from my own life, when I was diagnosed with diabetes back in 2020. And again, this is just a couple of years ago. And think about this, that was a life-changing moment for me. And again, in that moment, I couldn't do anything about that, right? It was destined to happen in that moment where I had that news that really shook me. It shook me even more because we'd lost my father a couple of years prior to that diagnosis from complications to type 2 diabetes. So I was even more shocked than I would normally have been. And so really what happened there in that moment was I had to make a decision. Now, the way that I responded, the way in which I responded to that news around being diagnosed with diabetes was I could have just said, you know what, I just need to take medication and I'll be okay. The medication will look after me. And the side effects are just a part of the medication that I now need to take. And guess what? You know what? That's my destiny. I can't do anything about it. I had another option as well, which was I could get back into looking at my diet, my nutrition. I could get back into the gym. I could get back and looking where have I fallen out of integrity around my own health and wellness game. And I could completely transform this situation and not need medication anymore. These were my two options. So again, I could have just sat back and just said, oh, you know what? It's my destiny. It's just meant to be that I'm meant to be a diabetic. My father was diabetic. His father was a diabetic. It runs in my genes. It's my destiny. I could have chosen that narrative, but I chose a narrative that really served me, that got me a complete transformation, that got me to completely transform diabetic. And touch wood, here I am many years later, not taking any medication at all. And completely naturally, my blood sugars have become perfect, like a non-diabetic. And even the doctor says to me, when I spoke to him on the phone a couple of weeks back, he said, your blood sugars are really impressive. Whatever you're doing is really impressive. And it's true because I had it inside of my free will. I control this thing. I'm in charge. I'm not going to let anyone or any external circumstance dictate the way that I show up to the world. No, who I am for coaches and consultants is this amazing, powerful stand for them to realize their deeper purpose, their deeper value, their true worth. So for me to be that for them, I have to be that for myself. And so this whole idea around destiny and free will, it's a really powerful thing to look at as we go into this week. And I really want to get present for myself that I have control over what happens, right? To a large extent, I can put in the control. Now, what happens and what comes my way, I can't necessarily control. That's destiny. But the way I approach it, what I put into what comes my way, the way I look at it, the mindset with which I go in, that's in my free will. Your mindset is in your free will. This is a really key thing to get, to land. There is no such thing as, it's meant to happen that way for me. Yes, certain circumstances as they present themselves. And guess what? We don't have to stay there because what we create as a result of those circumstances in our free will. And that's something I've experienced heavily. And there is this whole concept, this ideology around creating possibility. Creating a possibility that prior to that, never existed. One of my favorite movies right now is Top Gun Maverick, where there's a moment inside of there where they don't believe that this route that they need to fly for this particular mission can be done in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's just too many complex turns. There's too much complexity to the route, and it's just impossible. And so what Maverick goes and does is says that he's going to run it in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And he does it without permission. So he literally steals a plane. He sets the time to target to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. In the school classroom where they're studying, they say it's impossible while they're watching this all happen live. And he just says, you know what? He's going in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And guess what? He does it. He reinvents a possibility for what before was not construed as possible. What was not construed as possible before became possible. That's creating a possibility. And creating possibility is something that is definitely inside of our free will. We have the power as creators. We have the creative energy within us that can allow us to really create a new possibility for us, not only for ourselves, but for all of those around us, for our clients, right? For those people that we serve. Maybe clients are getting stuck inside of a narrative around, it's not meant to be. And especially if you're a coach, you'll get a lot of clients who just have kind of fallen into this space of, you know what? I've just got to deal with these circumstances. And no, everything is transformable. We can recreate brand new possibilities for people and have them step into a transformation they could never imagine before. Let's go into this week with that kind of a mindset. My name is Rishi Patel. I'm the founder of Selling in Alignment, where I work with coaches and consultants to reprice and package their services. And until the next time, keep selling in alignment.